Welcome back to Us Against Everything, where it's literally us against everything. And today's episode is less backyard barbecue and more barbecue. Speaking of barbecues, though, I am craving for you to make me a nice barbecue dinner.
I wish we had a barbecue
That's what I'm saying.
to throw these steaks I have on there.
Oh, we got steaks?
Yes.
And we don't have a barbecue?
We don't have barbecue or barbecue.
We got nothing. When you got nothing, you got nothing to lose.
Everything to gain. I guess we can go take the neighbors.
You know what? That ain't a bad idea. We can trade it for like Angel. We'll just do a swap. As if they wouldn't notice.
They go to grill their steaks and then there's just Angel sitting in their backyard.
Would that be considered a Dutch oven?
No.
Oh, fuck. I was trying to figure what that was today.
Just like a big pot. But
It's a pot?
Yes, but it's ceramic.
So why is it called an oven if it's a pot?
Because you could put it in the oven.
Back to our episode. You will understand in a second, but this is one of those stories that sounds fake at first until you sit with it. And the worst part, there's nothing supernatural about it. Like no ghosts, no demons, just people. It's an urban legend that has been told in a bunch of different ways over a bunch of different years. Some people call it the barbecue story. Some people call it urban BBQ, and some people call it barbecue, which is what I like the most. So Landen was the one who came up with this idea. He was scrolling on TikTok, saw this weird looking tall woman.
Freaky.
It was scary as shit.
Abnormally tall and abnormally skinny. And abnormally white.
And he was like, look at this story. And he's talking about it. And I'm like, oh my God, that's an urban legend. And he's like, okay, well, we need to cover this. And I totally agree. And yes, we're going to continue to cover urban legends because why the fuck not? Alrighty, so let's talk about Barbara Q. Now, she was known for her barbecues.
I mean, gotta make sense.
She was the kind of person that people talked about often. The kind of person that kept people coming back. She always had enough food. Always had her grill going. Always made sure everyone ate something. Such a sweet woman.
Until she's not.
But it's still nice. She could just keep her food to herself.
But then what's the fun in that, in watching other people eat other people?
We haven't got to that part yet. My whole point is that it seems genuine. Neighbors, friends, co-workers, her house was always full. And at first, nothing about it felt strange. But over time, people started to notice something. Just little things. Some of the people that used to come around stopped showing up. At first, it was easy to explain away. They moved. They're busy. Didn't have social media back then, so it wasn't really big concern if somebody just vanished. But the list, it kept growing. And Barbara never seemed concerned. But her parties never changed. Same music, same laughter, same food. And she always encouraged people to eat. Sometimes a little too much. Go on. Have more. There's plenty. Always plenty. Sounds like my grandmother.
I think that was just like how it was back in the day.
Right. Everybody would come over. What a sweet woman. And then one night, someone new was invited. Someone who didn't know the stories, didn't know the people who used to come around, and they noticed things that others had kind of noticed, kind of learned to ignore. You know, the way the meat tasted. Not bad, just off.
Different flavoring.
The smell in the air, that was a little bit heavier than it should be. And the way Barbara watched people eat, it was not casual. At one point during the night, they wandered just a little too far from the lights, past the yard, to a place where no one seemed to go. What they found was enough to stop everything. It was not leftovers. It was not trash. Something that didn't belong. Something that made every missing person make sense. What they found was pretty messed up. I'm not going to lie. They found human remains, body parts askewed, bones, human bones of children, adults, elderly, even animals.
That seriously doesn't surprise me.
The next day, people started asking questions like about the guests who never came back, the ones who were last seen at her house. And so they decided, after an exceptional amount of time, might I add, the authorities were called. The property was searched. Barbara was gone. No trace, no explanation, just an empty house, a cold grill, and a story that spread faster than anything else had ever spread before.
She probably went underground. She knew what she was doing, so she had to escape.
Yeah, somebody caught on to her. But legit, do you want to know where she went? She might have gone underground for a while, but then I feel like she decided to find another neighborhood and start having barbecues. I'm going to say that she might have even got herself a little shop or something, make it less sus, where she could sell the meat, make money, and people are nonetheless the wiser. But that is the vibe I pick up from her. Like, she went full ham underground and then went on her journey because this is something she could not contain. Other than technically being a cannibal, like, I don't feel like she specifically was a cannibal. I believe that she just enjoyed watching other people eat people. She got a rise out of that. So she enjoyed the kill, but the thrill for her was everyone eating humans. Yum.
Sounds more like she's a thriller killer there. But I also wonder why she doesn't want to eat the people herself.
From what I gather, she doesn't like the way it tastes.
So she just wants to kill them and then make other people eat it.
She gets an enjoyment out of that.
Good for her. She's able to brainwash people into doing that.
I mean, there are a lot of people that get brainwashed into doing a lot of things, like following certain cults. After that, no one called her by her real name anymore.
Is her real name even Barbecue?
I don't think so. I think that's kind of just the name people gave her, but maybe her name was actually like Barbara or Barbara Jean or something, but yeah, that's my vibe on it. Okay, first of all, I am never in my life going to eat at anyone else's house ever again.
And we've been in some questionable situations where people are like, do you want to eat? And we're like, no.
Do you remember when we were in Kansas?
Yes, that's exactly who I was thinking of. Literally thinking of that exact person. And I'm like, and they're like, hey, you're going to stay for dinner? And they were like saying they were eating something weird. We're like, no, thanks.
Like, and everyone is allowed to create whatever they want food-wise. But he had jars of what I believe to be like human brains were floating inside.
Also, tons of cats and cat feces everywhere.
But yeah, that is the creepy story here. But it's technically an urban legend, but what's crazy is these stories happen all the damn time.
There is always some truth, and then it is exaggerated.
I agree. For me, I always felt that way. Like, it is everyone, it's like broken telephone, right? We all hear a part of the story, and then it gets enhanced and more enhanced as we carry on.
Like, let's say she, like, killed one person and then like grilled them up and ate them, and then people are like, she killed 100 people and grilled them and fed them to the entire town.
You know what's crazy? Like, and I just got this random vision about this, and maybe this is something that's going to come in the future, but I keep getting this like really bad feeling that, you know how we can donate food to like shelters?
Yes.
I have this really bad feeling that we're going to run into a scam shelter that is possibly feeding people to the shelters.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I was trying to look for cases of cannibalism, and we all know about Jeffrey Dahmer. We know what he did. We know that there's a few others, but this one seemed exceptionally fitting. Now, if this does not fit barbecue, I don't know what would. Tamara Samsonova. Now, she was born in 1947. She is from the former Soviet Union. She lived in St. Petersburg, Russia, St. Petersburg. Now, she did work in tourism and hotel-related work at one point. She was intelligent, like educated. She spoke multiple languages. But in 2015, she was arrested for surveillance footage allegedly showing her carrying bags later tied to human remains. What do you think of that one?
I was going to say, that doesn't surprise me.
She was arrested connected directly to at least 2 killings, but suspected many more. Some reports say up to 14. Though suspected totally varies, and I'm not going to lie to you, I think the number is much, much higher.
Maybe they could only connect her to 14. You know, there's a lot of serial killers out there who they've only been able to get them for a few, but they find out later that they've been actually doing this for such a long time.
I absolutely don't disagree with you in any capacity. She was also keeping journals/diary entries. Now get this. In the diary entries, she was confessing to her murders, body disposal details, ordinary notes like coffee, medication, errands, writing in multiple languages.
She was trying to like study something, decomposition.
It's quite possible that she was doing that kind of research, but it seems a little bit darker than that, and we'll get into that here.
I mean, well, obviously it got darker. Like
Well, there was a widespread report that she claimed to have eaten parts of her victim as well.
Yeah,
yummy
because she
barbecue.
couldn't get past it. Once she tasted it once, she was like, this is amazing.
Right. And although some of these claims are like tabloid style reportings, I don't know. Something just feels off here. Also, her husband mysteriously disappeared. Like Carol Baskin's husband.
Who she fed to the tigers.
She let the tigers take care of that job. But yes, I absolutely believe she did it. Her husband disappeared years earlier. Some suspect he may have been an earlier victim. Yes.
Obviously.
He was absolutely.
He was probably her first victim.
Yeah. You know what? I'm going to say, from what I gathered when it comes to her and this poor little Grandma Ripper.
Grandma Ripper.
I believe that her husband was, well, cheating on her with somebody. And I think that's what initially started the trigger, right? So any sort of little irritants would annoy her. She'd kill them. That has fueled endless speculation. So that's why people started calling her Granny Ripper, Cannibal Grandma.
She was an elderly woman and she's ripping people's body apart.
I know, but like she's almost embodying barbecue. Like, I'm surprised she didn't feed it to the neighborhood.
Maybe barbecue was an entity.
Maybe she...
And then she latched onto this woman.
Oh, that's possible too.
Because
she could have also been feeding people like, here's a sandwich. I made a meatball sandwich.
Meatballs.
She probably had one of those sausage grinders too. Anyways, what happened to her? It's really weird, actually. So she was found mentally unfit.
Well, I wonder why.
and sent to a compulsory psychiatric treatment center rather than a conventional prison sentence. Which
Yes,
makes
because
sense.
something's wrong with her. She's killing people and then cutting them up and cooking them and feeding them to people.
And okay, listen to this creepiness, okay? This is one of her diary entrances. Today I bought aspirin. I cleaned the kitchen. My tenant argued with me again. I decided to punish her. I cut the body in the bathroom. Tomorrow I need bread.
Well, yeah, those diary entries, that one alone does not sound like somebody who is mentally well. I argued with my tenant, so I cut her up in the bathroom, and I need bread. Like you just said, to make what? A meat sandwich?
Right, but here's my question. Everyone was calling her Granny Ripper, right? How the hell did she get these women and these people that she was killing? Like, how did she kill them? What did she do to them? There's no indication anywhere of what she did to them. So my question is how did Granny Ripper do this? I don't even know. I could not find anything on it. In addition to that, my visions were not showing me that piece. So if anyone knows, let me know. She also had another diary entry that said, I killed my tenant, Volada, cut him into pieces in the bathroom with a knife, put the pieces in plastic bags, and then threw them away in different parts of the world. So, okay, she cut him up with a knife, but how did she get him to that point? Wouldn't he have been able to overpower her?
Well, there's that, but also how are you breaking through bones with just a knife?
Right.
Like most bones, to get through them, you need like a saw.
I don't know about you, but I have tried to cut a Christmas tree, a fucking tree made out of wood with a saw, a small saw, and it took me hours and hours.
Exactly. It would take that long. And then the amount of strength you would need to do that, to dismember an entire body. Maybe she had somebody in on it.
There's a possibility with that. That makes a lot more sense. Maybe there's a person, like a kid, a child.
I was about to say, like her son or
yes.
something that she like
right.
that she never put in school or anything like that. So nobody even knew she had a son.
Yes, that makes more sense to me. And maybe they don't want to talk about him because they didn't suspect him because he didn't write about it in his journal.
Right, she didn't say me and my son or me and my child or me and the little kid next door chopped up his body and ate it.
Exactly. So, Nanny Ripper, Grandma Ripper, you had an accomplice, girl. We're going back to Barbara Q here. Now, what do we actually think happened with Barbara Q?
Like multiple stories of different people, like this person.
Her name is Tamara Samsonova. And I also want to point out, too, that once she went into the psychiatric facility, never did anyone know anything else after that. Like, she just vanished. So we have no idea if she's still in there, if she died, whatever the case may be.
There was also another story I saw of this woman who adopted this child and she never let him out of the house. And she also killed people and then baked them into cakes and made him eat the cakes.
Oh my God.
So it's like a bunch of those stories combined together to make barbecue.
Creepy AF. Well, here's what I am seeing. I believe this Barbara was doing a little bit of a Russian roulette, if you will, where she would feed everyone all the food, watching, because it turned her on, clearly. And then I think she chose one person, which is why I said the roulette side of things, that she was going to poison their food and make them fall asleep and pass out and die, and then she disposes of the bodies. I genuinely believe that Barbara Q had a meat grinder, a heavy old school one where you're using your elbow grease to do it.
That's the only way to do it.
Now, why do we think no one questioned the food right away?
Well, because everybody uses different spices or different meats. Like you could have assumed, like, for instance, like, deer meat, it's edible and it definitely has a different taste to it, but it's not like the meats we're used to eating every day unless you're like a hunter and eat deer meat all the time.
Well, I know myself, and if I tasted something foul, even if Nope. I'd be like, oh, wow, thanks. I would maybe take a bite and never eat it again. But she'd probably force it down our fucking throats.
She probably would. She probably would get some sort of screwdriver and some sort of something and shove it down your throat.
Oh my God, no, I would not. I would run. I would run away from barbecue. I'd be like, Barbara, leave me alone, girl. Now, have you ever ignored a gut feeling in a social setting because everything looked normal?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. 2 words. Aurora, Colorado.
Absolutely. Kansas.
Kansas and Aurora, Colorado. Absolutely. Kansas was creepier than Aurora, for sure. Aurora wasn't necessarily creepy. It was just an illusion.
Yes.
Now, do we think that people who do things like this can fully hide it? Or do they always give something away?
I think eventually they give something away because they become too cocky, too confident. Like, especially if they've done it a bunch of times, then they're like, I can get away with this. And then either they screw up or they leave evidence out of some sort or they pick the wrong victim.
Like Adam Strong.
Right, like Adam Strong, picking the wrong person and messing with the wrong family who won't stop, or making a mistake like Adam Strong, where trying to put the pieces of skin down the drain and clogging the drain.
Yes, for those of you guys who do not know, this is a Canadian case. This is actually one close to home. One of the first cases I ever worked on because the family reached out to me directly. But 2 things on this case. This man ended up basically ratting himself out because the upstairs neighbor were having some issues with their plumbing, and it was like a fleshy substance coming out of their washroom. The plumber went downstairs to find out what was going on, and that's when the plumber called the police. At that point, the police came knocking on Adam's door, and Adam admitted to what he had done.
Yeah, he knew he wasn't getting away with it, and he already had too much evidence and DNA all over his apartment.
He was flushing body parts down his toilet, and trying to anyway. Here is exactly the quote that Adam said to the police officer. Okay, you got me. The gig is up. It's a body. If you want to recover the rest of her, it's in my freezer. And that was in relation to Lori Hachey, who was only 18 years old when she disappeared months earlier. He also killed somebody else by the name of Candace Fitzpatrick, who vanished in 2008 and had never been heard from ever again. I knew Candace's family. I actually worked with one of the women. Everything just kind of came together. It's really unusual, but one of the most disturbing cases. Highly recommend taking a looky-loo at it. Lori Hachey, Adam Strong. And the crazy part is, we're going to cover this case one day again. Maybe not necessarily what we covered in the past, but what else Adam was involved in, because I believe that those 2 women were not his only killings.
If I was in this situation, what would be the first thing that made me uncomfortable? Definitely the taste of meat, because I am a very specific type of person. I remember a long time ago, I went to my friend's house to eat dinner. Like, I hung out at their house, and then their family made dinner, and then their family, like I said earlier, they were avid deer hunters, so they made food with meat, and they didn't tell me that it was deer meat. They hand me the food, I take one bite, I immediately spit it out, and I was like, what is this? They're like, it's steak. And I'm like, no, I eat steak all the time. This is not steak.
Yeah, no.
And they're like, oh yeah, it's a deer steak, deer meat steak. And I'm like, I'm not eating that.
That's not steak. See a little Bambi every time I look at a deer.
Exactly. I literally was like, I'm not doing that. That would be the first thing that would make me uncomfortable.
I don't know. Like, for me, it depends on what Liz shows up, because I have multiple personalities here.
I'm going to tell you right now, you ain't eating it, and you're going to be like, I'm not eating this.
Oh, I definitely would not be eating it. That I know for sure.
Then you would be trying to figure out how we're getting out.
Right. Some sort of a family emergency we need to get the hell out of there with. Why do we trust people in social settings more than we trust our own instincts?
Because I think everybody has that natural, human nature where you want to just believe the good in people.
I really don't disagree with you. It's true.
Especially if they're friendly. Like, obviously, if this person was going around town and they stayed in their house all the time and they were always dirty when they came around and they always smelled when they came around and they always acted weird and they stood out, maybe hermit people would be like, there's something wrong with this person.
Absolutely. And like, that brings me to the next question. Do you think someone capable of this would stand out, or would they blend in perfectly? I think both. I think that there are some very obvious people that you can point out and be like, okay, that person screams serial killer, cannibal, murderer, psychopath. Never would I be put in a fucking alleyway with that person. And then there's the other people that are even scarier, which are the ones that are totally fucking normal. And then they've got all this shit going on behind them. Those are the ones that get away with serial killing.
Yep. That's like how Jeffrey Dahmer, Ted Bundy, all of them got away. They were very, very charming and very, very nice. They just know how to lure people in.
Now, if this was real, how would anyone ever prove it after the fact?
Very easily. You send in a sting operation. You send somebody in there and make sure that this person would pick you, and then, kind of go through all of it, but, be, kind of like how they do sting operations for like undercover pedophilia, when they're trying to catch sexual predators.
So you would go in undercover Landon.
I didn't say I would go undercover.
Yeah, man, you're going to go in undercover Landon. Go in and be like, hi, barbecue.
No,
hey,
I'm
here
hire,
for some lunch.
I'm going to hire like our old roommate or something like that to go in and be the bait.
Okay, so you'll be the one where in the background there?
Yeah, I'll be the one listening to their monitor and telling them what to do.
I'll go in. I'll go hang out with, but I'm really good at talking to people.
You ain't eating nothing.
No, hell no. I will avoid the food for sure, but what I will do is take a piece of it with me and we'll test it.
Like, oh, sorry, I'm going to take this home and eat this at home, and then see how she reacts. Like, oh, she's not letting you leave the house until you eat it. Now there's another red flag.
I would also have a weapon. And I don't necessarily mean like a pew-pew or anything like that, but maybe like a fireball or a bow and arrow with a flame on it, like a flamethrower bow and arrow.
So you can barbecue her.
Exactly. How did you know?
Because I know you better than you know yourself.
Then I would barbecue Barbara Q, and then it would be in the papers, wasting that bitch's ass.
Barbecue and barbecue.
Yes, exactly. Alrighty, guys. Well, we had so much fun hanging out with you today and talking about Barbara Q. Our next episode, this next episode is not going to be a fun one. It is a very serious one. Something both Landon and I both felt like we needed to do. It is going to be called Predator Academy. And basically there is a website. It's really a porn site that allows people to teach others on how to assault somebody. It is pretty fucked up, not going to lie, but there is an investigation going on and we're going to dive deep into all of it and visions. And you guys are not going to want to miss this. Next time you're somewhere and something feels a little off, maybe don't ignore it. Maybe don't second guess it. Maybe don't stay for barbecue.
Definitely don't.
Because at the end of the day, you don't always know what you're walking into. And that is why it's us against barbecue and
us against everything.